Good day, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Today we are featuring Derek Miller, who, who is with Corfix. Corfix is an application that's designed for construction document management, something that we don't see a lot of. Corfix is a little bit of a unique application in that sense, and one that we at the Net Effect are very happy that we found, because it's actually starting to help a lot of our clients manage their construction documentation very well. And so before we go too far, I would like to introduce Derek Miller. Derek, if you could just give a little bit of your resume so that people can appreciate where you're coming from.
Thanks, Craig. So I'm actually not of the tech background. I did grow up working several of the disciplines of the construction industry, but my last 20 years prior to Corfix was spent actually in the hockey world. I previously played professionally, coached professionally, and then was recruited to come to Corfix about 3 years ago to build out exactly what I'm doing right now, a partnership program for our operation. So I get to meet people like yourself. I get to meet contractors. I get to sit down with the people that are out there every single day, putting in those hours and helping us build what we know as the infrastructure of, well, not only Canada but the US. We're in Argentina and also Australia. So I get to interact with a large group of people. So not similar to my background in hockey, but equally relationship building is as important, and culture is as important.
Great. Well, thanks, Derek. And just so that we have a sense of where our audience is from, if some of you could maybe just tell us what part of the world you're in, and how we might be able to relate to your location a little bit. Is anybody happy to do that? We would be quite grateful. Okay. So one of the things that we want to do, Derek, today is we want to give everybody a sense of what is meant by construction document management. And calling in from Winnipeg, Vancouver. I see somebody from the East Coast. That's great. We have a good Canada representation today. And as those of you who know anything about the Net Effect and what we do, we love to work with Canadian construction technology companies, and certainly Corfix fits that bill. So good to see a cross Canada representation. All right, so Derek, maybe spend a little bit of time telling the audience precisely what is meant by construction document management, and then we can take a deeper dive into Corfix.
Well, I think I'll go back even one step further than that, Craig, and give a little background on our company and where we came from. So we're born straight from the construction world. Our founder, Sean Watts, was a rebar foreman working on multi-story high-rise here in Ottawa, where I am today. He was struggling with managing the documents, managing the sites, whether that be from production reports to site sign-ins to all the safety documentation that goes for individuals, equipment, whatever it might be, all that pesky paperwork that ends up with coffee stains on it when it's handed into the office on the paper form. So he decided to build a software, and fast forward 6-8 months later, he was onto something and actually retired from being a rebar foreman and turned into a tech CEO. So we're actually built by the people that are in the field right now. So in a sense, the programmer is reverse engineered to fit the field first and get the information back to the office that they need. So adoption, ease of use, those boxes are ticked because myself comes from a construction background in my upbringing, but almost every other person in our office comes straight from the field in the last couple of years. And because we understand the problems or the pain points that exist, so we can relate to the customers we're trying to assist. So that's a good foundation for us to start with. When it comes to documentation management, our name in itself is essentially the first three letters that you can see over my shoulder here are compliance on record. So we want companies to have compliance. We want them to show due diligence. We want them to have a log and a track record of that and be able to report on it, be able to see it, and be able to have the office understand what's going on in the field. And likewise, the field can understand what's going on in the office. So it's one cohesive company working together versus a little bit segmented and also delayed with the use of pen and paper in the field or inferior products that aren't user friendly. So we simplify all of that from the very login at a site to punch out at a site. Everything between those hours is what we can facilitate and help. And I'll be able to demonstrate that a little bit further when we jump inside the platform. But that's I'll give that the 10,000-foot view of the problems we solve and what documentation management means to us.
Great, great. Well, that's an excellent explanation. Thank you very much. I guess the question is, what's the scope of documentation that you have the ability to help support? I realize that core is part of it, but beyond that, what else can a contractor do with documentation facilitation using Corfix?
So I use the line that you could build a lease agreement in our system to rent out a room in your house. So you can do pretty much anything. So it is that sign in with a QR code, not with a QR code. It is that you have to start your day with a JSA. You have to fill out a hot work permit. You have to sign off on a new policy. You have to complete an accident or incident report. You have to then do an inspection on your mast lift or your piece of equipment. The range is essentially limitless. If you need it created and you need it to be reportable, we can build that with our template builder. It's called Smart Logic we have in there. We create if this then that statements. We can code in the background if there's anything really particular that you need. You have a specific workflow you want to achieve, we can create that workflow. One document's started and completed, it triggers another document to be opened and sent to somebody else. So we're trying to give back time to the field to make it easy for them to fill out those documents that, let's be honest, nobody wants to fill out inspections or JSAs. They just want to get to work. But we make it easier, quicker than the standard process, whether it be paper or another platform. But we also keep the office happy because they have everything that they need and they can report on it, they can meet on it, and they can make decisions based on the data that's been coming in.
Great, thanks. And so when we're talking about all of that information moving back and forth, how much of that is being, how easy is it for somebody in the office to be able to provide new documentation to somebody in the field and vice versa?
So, well, it's all on permission sets. So if somebody in the office has the appropriate permission set, they will be able to, let's say that they want to do change in any type of document, they wanted to open that up from their admin portal. And I can do a little bit of hunting and show this live as well. But you can go in and if you want to change a field from name to, let's go French, and it's now Nam, we're going to be able to go in and automatically update that. If you want to delete a field that was previously there that you no longer need to collect information on, you just click a little red X button and that will no longer appear on any of the future documentation. If from the field somebody's filling out a document and they want to make edits or changes to it, again, we need to give them permission because we want to have ultimate control. Somebody can go back and say, okay, I filled out, here was my progress report, and oh, wait a minute, that wasn't quite right. They can go in, make edits and changes. All those edits, all those versions, all those changes are tracked. So you can give people the ability to make mistakes and correct them without having to start again or start fresh, which in my experience is the case in lots of other platform systems or even on pen and paper, that you're going to have to start fresh.
Do you have any client history or case studies that sort of talk about how you've been able to eliminate paper in their business processes?
We have plenty of testimonials. Those would likely represent what you're referring to as a case study. Quite often, it's a lot of praise for making it actually more simple. So there's always nervousness, there's trepidation in going from something that's traditionally been the norm for the past 40 years. If you've never been off paper, you've probably been on paper forever. So there's initial trepidation, but then it normally circles back to thank you for maybe twisting my arm a little bit here and getting me to give this a try. And the other piece of feedback is often, well, we have a bit of an eclectic workforce. Some of them are on tech, some of them aren't, some of them are older, some of them are younger, some of them don't want to use their data. Well, we have solutions to all those individual problems. And our customer success team is experts. They work with these people all day, every day. So the case studies we often see is, I can't believe how easy adoption was and how simplified the onboarding and setup process can be. And we have plenty of examples for anybody that was ever looking to share direct on our website. You can access them, or if there's any specific examples from an industry, we have a litany of clients that are willing to offer up references as well.
Great. And I guess one of the things that's always a challenge with new technology in any construction company, in any company for that matter, is what's the adoption rate or what's the uptake in terms of the staff and any other stakeholders that you're expecting to use it. Do you find that you have any resistance to that level of change amongst the employees of an organization?
Yeah, I want to be honest with everybody that's here. Absolutely, there's always going to be there's going to be cases that come up where there's a level of resistance. But with our customer success team, we take a really calculated approach to how we onboard. We can limit the hesitation through permission sets and only giving people access to what they need, not overwhelming them. So actually showing them this can be easier. We onboard the key stakeholders first. We then go down the rung and we onboard the leaders, the superintendents, whatever the title might be, and then we work our way down to, let's call it the labor force, the ones on the shovels, the ones that are actually out there putting sweat on the line every day for companies. So we work our way through, and at each level, it's a different process to onboard them, train them, and to gain that level of buy-in when there is ever resistance. But I don't have any direct cases where we've had pushback or that pushback has lasted and really affected the launch of a program. That's a complete credit to our customer success team. They're absolute pros, and every account gets 3 customer success managers assigned to them. You get their email, personal phone numbers. We have a live chat, and we give access to direct correspondence with our people, and we pride ourselves on response time with that. The average response time online is 43 seconds. So wow. You click on our live chat, you get an answer in 43 seconds. We have somebody sitting at that live chat for all the hours you're working. The hours are 6 to 6, we're there. So that helps us be able to move things along and push past any barriers that might come up.
Sounds good. So, Derek, why don't you lift the hood and show us how this engine runs?
All right. So I'll give you guys the fed with a fire hose version of Corfix. I want this to be more of a conversation. So if anybody has any feedback, has any comments at any point, feel free to pop something in the chat. I'll try and keep an eye on it. I'll address questions as I see them. And we can dive in a little bit deeper where we need to be, or we can leave it to the Q&A that's also at the end. Does the system work? Kevin asks, does work location? Yes. So to answer your question, as I get logged in here, Kelvin, yes, it does. We have an offline mode that you can continue to complete your documentation, fill it out, and just like that pending text message that's sitting there trying to push itself out, the moment you return to service or Wi-Fi, that will actually push out. So yes, you can use the system in the most remote of areas. We actually have a large company up in the Northwest Territories using us purely remote, returning to service, and all their documentation uploads. So as I log in here, one thing to mention is we also have the ability to custom brand this entire experience. We can take this Corfix blue and the Corfix logo, we can remove it. I'll show you an example after, but you can essentially have your own software by all appearances and your own experience for your own company throughout. When you first log in, what you're going to see is these three bubbles are going to tell you what's going on live in the field, which is important. The last one is a task manager. Consider this your dispatch. Consider this a line of communication between the field needing something and requesting from the office, a way of communicating, but tracking it through tasking. Coming May 11th, we're going to release a chat feature, which will be live in-app chat, which will enhance this feature in itself for communication and logging of communication between people in the field. Down below, this is your reporting and analytics dashboard. If you are getting and collecting information from the field, you can report on it. My admin dashboard here is built a little bit health and safety centric. I can see that 5 of my sites are pretty good on this toolbox talk, but I can also see that I've got 1% incomplete on my center block site. I can have whatever reports I want on this dashboard specific to me. If Craig was one of my coworkers, his dashboard can look completely different. He can report on whatever's important to him. You can have as many different reports on this dashboard, from tracking certifications that are expiring to outstanding documents that people may have to complete. So whatever's important to you can be in this single pane of glass right off the bat, and all your reports are built in our reporting section. Projects. So if I look at our projects, you can have as many projects spread across Canada as you like. You can keep your thumb on the pulse of the company. I can sit down and I can jump into one and I can see this is from my home province of Manitoba. I've got one set up in Nipawin. I'm working on the center block project. I've got my address. I've got optional descriptions I can add in. I can add resources, drawings, locates, whatever it might be specific to this project in our binders section. I can track all documentation ever filled out on it. We also, and I'll talk about it shortly, we also have, which is unique to us and only us, a timekeeping module that can be built right in and integrated with your payroll software. Additionally, you can add key contacts from the job, whether they're your people or whether they're the other people that are on your site. Maybe this is a general contractor. If you'd like to have a running tally, if you want to jump in and have this view, you can see all forms, you can see all tasks, and then lastly, you can see all project notes, whether it's change orders, whatever it is. Everything related to that project lands in one neat file right here, and it takes about 40 seconds to set one of these up and deploy it. Workers, similar concept. If I had punched in my workers, you'd actually see the pins drop where my workers are throughout Canada, United States on this map. Nobody's punched in right now, but inside each worker profile, key contact information, emergency contact information, and the roles like I discussed earlier with Craig. You can create and define what each person's roles are. You can decide whether they can access certain documents, they can access certifications. You can, there's several different toggles. You can get really specific on each of your roles and responsibilities. You create them, you customize them. Additionally, under each worker, all the documents that I've ever been a part of live here. All the tasks I've ever been a part of, and all my time cards that I've ever been a part of, all live again stuck to my profile. So I one snapshot again, I can see what a worker's up to, and I can see that I'm a little bit delinquent here with an incomplete document. Maybe most importantly under this is how we track certifications. So I want to see a WMIS certification. Forgive me, I just stole one offline. I can see the expiry date, whether it's been approved, and this image. This image is available to me as the individual. The ministry ever shows up on my site, I have the ability to open my phone and show that, open the tablet and show it. Or if my foreman has the right permission set, my foreman can actually open up the entire crew certifications versus shutting down the job site, lining up. Now my foreman can open up and show all of our certifications for the site to whoever requires them. They can bundle them up and email them with 2 clicks as well. So access to certifications is really important, but the other really important part, as you can see here, is that we have a master certification area. This allows us to track all certs by type. We can filter and find whatever we need. If we ever need to share them, I can filter, I can multi-select, I can export and download and share. I can create whatever type I like. And because I'm a little bit delinquent here, I can set a notification setting. So I can have it set at 90 days from any certification expiring. In this case, these 2 people are going to get an email. Every Monday morning, 7 a.m., I will now get an email telling me who will expire in the next 90 days or who has expired already. So stay on top of it. It's the kind of, I forget the infomercial, but the set it and forget it kind of mentality that you're going to be reminded. You don't have to be paying attention once these certifications are uploaded. I'll jump up here to what I think is one of our most appealing sections, our template builder. So right now in here, you can see there's a litany of different types of templates that we can offer you. We have a master library of over 250 best practice documents. You can have them, you can use them, you can edit them, you can change them. You can give us your best practice documents. You can build them, we can build them. Comes with free training for all of that as well. I have 123 different documents. In my account itself, if I want to see all my equipment inspection documents, I can quickly access those and I see all my equipment inspections. If I want to jump into my boom lift inspection, I can see it. This is where I can go in and I can quickly edit and change it. If I want to see how it would look in the field, I can go in and I can actually start playing with it, see how it looks in the field before I deploy it. So really user-friendly to update, edit, change, and deploy documentation. As an example of the variety, we actually have what I consider a light learning management capability. We can set up orientations, we can test people, we can grade tests, and we can certify people directly through our template builder, along with all your inspections and your safety documentation, your progress reports, your site sign-in, site-out, change orders, etc. When a document, yep, go ahead,
Sorry,
Greg.
yes. When you're doing that, could you show us an example of a report template?
Like any specific kind?
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at you were just showing a vehicle as an example, or
Yeah, so
a crane.
a boom.
Yeah,
Oh,
boom lift
okay,
inspection.
I'll go back into this one. So this is it when we're ready to edit and change it or update it. So I can jump in here and I can make changes. This is also what the final PDF would look like. So nice, neat, and clean. If I'm actually filling it out in the field, our view here is a little bit smaller than most phones, but I fill out my documentation. I come down and I'm going to do my inspection. I'm going to go and I'm going to start pass, failing, or make it not applicable. The interesting part about this document in itself, the moment that a failure is triggered in this document, my maintenance department is automatically notified. It creates a follow-up task. So if I'm in an inspection and let's say this boom lift has a flat tire, my maintenance department is automatically notified. They will go out, pull that out of service. They will then be asked to complete a follow-up document to certify or to track that that has been fixed. They will then return that piece of equipment to the field, and now this failure is closed. So it's a full loop. It's not just, well, there's a failure and we kind of hope somebody gets to it. We can close the loop on these type of things as well. I can go through, I can complete my document. I won't complete it all for our purposes here, but I can have any type of inspection live here. And at the end, I can drop files, I can annotate on pictures, I can take pictures of it, and then I would be asked to sign off on that. Perhaps Craig needs to receive a document. Every time a document is completed in the field, Craig needs to receive a notification. Well, I can automatically email that to Craig as well.
Excellent, thank you.
I'll go back. Okay, so when that boom lift inspection would be completed, this is where it would end up. So it ends up stuck to the project, the person, but it also ends up in this master area. So if I need to find all my toolbox talks, I've got somebody requesting documentation. I search, I can find all my toolbox talks with just simply inputting toolbox talk. If I have a GC that says I need all your toolbox talks for a certain date range, I can search, I can find those, I can bundle them up, I can ship them out. That easy to find search documentation. If we're talking from an internal standpoint, if I just want to know, okay, what's incomplete, what's pending, here's all my incomplete documentation. Easy to hunt, easy to find, easy to share, easy to track, and also this is all reportable on your dashboard. A few interesting features, and I'll go over them a little bit here, is scheduling documentation. There's always the question mark out there. Did they fill out their document or did they not? Somebody's taking time to figure that out. In my case here, I've set up 3 different scheduled documents. Dustin Seymour weekly at 11:15 a.m. receives a toolbox talk. Dylan Sangster daily, JHA. Mike Burnett monthly harness inspection. I can set up whatever cadence, I can select whatever document, I can select whatever person. These documents are automatically shipped to them, and we can now track, because if that document is not completed, it sits in an outstanding state. That's that original report I showed you on the front end. We have documents that are outstanding here, so I know, well, Dylan Sangster didn't fill out his JHA today. So we can track and trace every single one of these. Additionally, We have a QR code function. We're trained by COVID to use QR codes for many reasons. We have two different types, internal versus external. The only difference is internal is by your internal employees, but as a general contractor, which we have a large audience of general contractors that work with us, we have external documentation. You want to track your subtrades, you want to collect information from the field, you want to make things readily accessible and ease of use. We're now going to select what project we need a QR code for. We're going to go in and say, I need people to either submit their toolbox talks or I need them to fill out our toolbox talk. Now this QR code is generated. You can post it on your safety board. You can post it in your site trailer. You can share it with your own crews. You guys out there right now could scan this, could access it, could fill out my toolbox talk. I'll be notified and I will get it live, logged against this center block project. And you will also be sent a copy for your own records. So you can, whatever you put behind this QR code is up to you. You can ask them what their birthday is if that's all you really want to know. Or you can ask them to submit all their documentations, all their certifications, and you can use one simple method, this QR code, but not have to actually onboard them in Corfix.
If we scan that QR code right now, what are we going to see?
You're going to see my toolbox talk. So I'll set it up here again. If anybody wants to quickly scan that thing. So this is how easy it is to set them all up. I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to scan that, and then I'll go show you a larger scale example. So what you'll first get the moment you log in this, the first time and only time, you're gonna have to input your name, you're gonna have to input your email, and your company's optional. We want that information for our due diligence purposes. You fill out my toolbox talk. It'll be a pretty blank document when you open it up. You click the drop down. It's going to show you a litany of toolbox talk topics that I fed into the system. You can select one. You can sign off on it live. I'll get an email notification. It'll actually pop up in the background here if somebody fills it out quickly, and we will see it. And I will also get an email copy because that's what I've asked the system to do. All right. We'll see if any pop up. I'll zag back to that in a second. We also, and I won't dive into this too deep, we are partnered with AuditSoft. We have a software in the background that allows us to help take care of your core audit throughout the year. We create automations for Ontario specifically, where I live now. Is I fill out a toolbox talk right now on my center block project. It's automatically going to sort a number 8 element number 8 training and communications for the core audit out here. Every province, every discipline has their own core audits. We set you up with that, and your core audit is automatically being filed without you doing anything until you need to submit, which we then have a partnership where we can automatically submit that through our system to the AuditSoft software if that's your auditing body. Second last here is binders. So we have this section is a bottomless Dropbox. You cannot fill it up. It continues to grow as you need it. You can put as many different things in here, from policy, procedure, safety data sheets, and user manuals, so everybody has access to those, all the way down to internal documentation that only administrators can see. So you can set accessibility permissions. You can upload documents as big as 300 megabytes, which the most I've ever heard from a competitor was 30 megabytes at a time. So you can put in an extremely large manuals, which this one was, I think, 120 pages long, PDF. So it's really robust how you can use it. Additionally, I change a policy. I want to update people, or I want to add or create a QR code for a policy. I can say, I want to share my occupational health and safety manual with the job site. I'm a GC or I'm just a sub-trade, but I want to make my big green binder more accessible. I can generate a QR code that allows my binder resources to be accessible through QR. I can post this on my safety board versus having that big green binder nowhere to be found. You're doing due diligence. You're giving access to people on your site to be safe at all times. If I happen to change a resource in here, we don't have to change a QR code. The resource will update itself. The QR code stands firm. If I go in and I want to add a resource here, I can select a file from my computer or from Google. I can notify my crew. Let's say I want to notify the asphalt crew of a new cell phone policy. I can set it up and submit this, that they each have to individually sign it and acknowledge our new cell phone policy. So you're, again, doing your due diligence and confirming everybody understands expectations. Lastly, timekeeping. Our timekeeping software, we took some of the most common softwares out there and we kind of pillaged all the best parts. We took on all of our all of the key features that we knew our clients needed, and we built into one, from geolocating to geofencing to a standard time card, apply specific rules for overtime. And we also integrate with all the major softwares. This isn't even our full list. We integrate with all the major softwares that you can imagine and that most of the industry uses, or there's just default settings so you can run your payroll. So it's pretty robust in how specific you can get with just that. And we're the only software we found that combines documentation, health and safety with timekeeping, which is pretty much everything that the field needs. So combining two services into one application.
Okay.
If I'll take, if you don't mind, I'm not sure how much time I'm in here, how much time I have left, but let me just quickly recap what I think is important and how we can help. Essentially, we eliminate all the paperwork in the field. That's apparent. We want to streamline your operation. We improve your compliance. We improve your due diligence. We lower your risk. Insurance companies are using us to get better rates because their case studies and our case studies have shown that the company is now less on the hook because of due diligence in itself. So multiple examples of companies using us as a way to lower their liability and ultimately their insurance rates. We manage all the job site safety. We connect job workers and documents, which is always important for culture. Some of our key features, I did mention timekeeping, our digital documentation, our tasking, and the other various ones here. We do have a few more in the hopper. May 11th, we will be releasing asset management. We will also be releasing scheduling. And as I mentioned before, in-app chat. So our job is to continue to grow. We have 9 developers located here in Ottawa, and they are working tirelessly to continue to evolve our product. Last bit is we have the ability to custom branding, as I alluded to off the hop. Here I did a little custom brand of the net effect, what it looks like in the field, what it might look like in the office. And we also have other key integrations. Here's just a few. The audit software I mentioned, Sage, QuickBooks, and Procore as a project management tool. They asked us to integrate with them, so we made that happen. And Acumatica as a enterprise solution ERP that we allow people to work in the software that works best for their position, but allow with Acumatica all that information to end up in one location. I think I've rambled for quite a while here. Let me toss it back to you, Craig, and maybe see if anybody has any questions as well.
Well, you certainly, in preparation for this, you talked about the challenge of covering an hour or more's worth of material in 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
I would say that you've done an excellent job. However, I'm sure there's members of the audience that are probably ready to ask a question or two. So if anybody has anything that they would like to ask of Derek, somebody just made the comment that having field capture for an ERP is essential. Yeah, that's absolutely true. When we take a look at ERPs in the work that we do here at the Net Effect, one of the things that we want to make sure is happening is that people working out on a job site have the ability to post all of the information, not just time cards, but certainly other things such as hazard assessments and things like that. Yep. Directly from the field. I liked, Derek, what you showed about the checklist or the inspection list of a piece of equipment and how that was automated in order to inform the service team that something needed to be done. Okay, question from Kelvin.
No, I think we already covered that one possibly for Kelvin there.
Okay, what size is the geofence for timekeeping?
Geofence is as big as you want it. We can make it 0.1 of a kilometer. We can make it a kilometer. What that is usually in place for is we don't want somebody punching into work when they're at home brushing their teeth or having a pint in the pub at the end of the day. So you put in an address, you get to determine based on that individual project or job site or even shop site where they can be. Do they have to be within 100 meters of that place, or do they have to be, you're a little bit more relaxed, you want them to be within a kilometer? That's completely up to you, and it's job specific. We do have the ability for photo capture. So when somebody punches in, they have to take a picture of themselves, because time theft is a huge issue in this industry. So we have the ability that we can't just let somebody else punch in for you, use your code or whatever multi-factor authentication you have. We actually have the ability to turn on and require a picture has to be taken the moment you log in, so you know you're actually getting that person.
Right. Whether you call it time theft or friendly fraud, as we often refer to it,
Yeah,
it's costing the industry, as an industry, it costs the industry millions, and when you bring it down to an individual company level, it's costing many of them thousands and thousands.
yeah,
Chris from Econowall has asked, do you have a photo capture capability?
yeah. Yeah, so well, photo capture goes across the board. Within your documents, you can create photos, you can annotate on photos, you can create, like I said, that photo take back of somebody punching in, their camera's automatically turned on at punch in, and they see themselves, they click take a picture, that's uploaded so you can verify who's actually doing that punch in. I haven't ran into a photo or an image capability that we don't satisfy.
Right. So if at the end of the day, somebody needs to do a progress report and or a deficiency report, you've got the ability to capture a photo, embed it into a form
Yep.
and submit that, correct?
Yep, exactly. And I guess that leads us into another question that Kelvin asked here. I seen that you can actually, Kelvin, if you're doing a timesheet and you fill out your timesheet or your punch clock, we can set it up that you are required to fill out a document before you can actually do that. So we can set it up in the morning. If your JSA is something that you need everybody to fill out daily, or certain people, you can set up that that person cannot log into work until they fill out their daily JSA. Or you can set it up to the end of the day, they cannot punch out until they fill out their daily log, let's call it. So you can trigger those things that they want to get paid. So we're not going to let them finalize their day until they finalize their job, because as the owner, as the office, you need to get that stuff back. So the answer to your question, I believe, Kelvin, is yes, if I understand correctly, and that will transcend, that document will go right back to the office, and then you can use that for your external billing for hours or whatever your billing process is.
Great. Now, you did indicate that you actually have a drop down that automatically integrates through APIs. For those of you who don't know what an API is, that stands for Application Programming Interface. Those are the systems that enable one software to talk to another software.
Yep.
But you have great APIs and integrations with a broad range, a very
Yep.
exceptionally broad range of accounting applications. What other construction technology applications do you integrate with other than Procore?
So Procore is obviously one of the big ones in the industry. So when they actually came to us, so we built that one first. We're looking at other ones similar, and I guess this answers the question that Ari posed as well, is ones like Vista, the Autodesks. I'm in conversations with them, but we are often very careful in who we integrate with. We want to make sure that we're not limiting our product by creating an integration that we can no longer support some of our modules we're looking to build for the future. Because we are a Canadian based and a Canadian bound company, and we have all of our developers living here, we are looking for partnerships with learning management softwares. We're looking for partnerships with various other complementary services that we are not going to build as module add-ons. Which I think gives us a lot more control over what the end user sees and how they live within the product, because it was built for the field and we don't want to muddy those waters. Acumatica is one of the large ones. We launched that about a year ago just for an individual client. We custom built that integration for them, and now we're taking that to the next level. We have launched to the to the world for everybody who's looking for a larger tech stack integration. Somebody was looking for, we don't do it, but somebody was looking for to track their inventories, wants to track their crews, has a larger scope, but they want their crews to work in a platform that's meant for them, which is us. But the office wants to also see that, but they all want to see it in one window versus multiple systems. So now we're combining services with them. So we're always strategic and we're open to suggestions. I recently got a GPS equipment management suggestion, and I am quite a ways down the road looking to integrate with them. It's not something we're ever going to do, but our clients need it. So let's find a way to make it work. So we're really flexible and we listen to our people. We listen to our clients.
Right. I've got two more questions and then I think we're pretty much ready to wrap up, Derek, but who's your ideal? Oh, okay. First, Jeff has asked, do we have an open API or connections common integration platform? Is it something that works well with the likes of Automate.io
Yeah.
or Zapier?
Yeah. So I'm not familiar with the first two. I am familiar with Zapier. So I'll say no, we don't have a direct open AI. It's something we hold our cards close to our chest with. We do entertain every single opportunity to allow those integrations and work with other companies as the accounting softwares have done for us. But it depends. It's each case is evaluated individually on what makes the most sense for us.
Great, thanks. The couple of questions that I wanted to close with, and we'll keep an eye on the board to see if anybody has anything more, but who is your ideal client? What kind of clients are you doing a lot of work with, let's say?
So if geographically, I mentioned it earlier, we're throughout North America, we're international as well. When it comes to the actual disciplines, we have plumbing, general contracting, every discipline of subtrade down to piecework. We have golf courses. We have the Calgary Zoo. We have airports. So it really transcends because our system, we don't hand you a box and say, fit your business in it. You kind of hand us the box and say, now build your system around us. We fit your workflow. So we fit in multiple disciplines. And that's not just limiting in regards to what kind of company you are, but also your size. We have two-man plumbing shops all the way up to 2,000 person civil companies that are using us in various capacities. Obviously, the two-man plumbing shop is using us much different than the 2,000 person civil builder is, but we can fit around their company and absorb their workflows into our platform, so they don't have to change their practices. We just make their practices fit in our system.
Yeah, that certainly fits within our philosophy. You know, we don't cookie cutter any project that we're working on with our clients. I don't want to say they're all snowflakes, but on
Yeah.
the other hand, we have to be helping them adopt software solutions to their particular style of doing business. So that
Yep.
certainly fits within our strategy as well. And then my last question, one of the things that I think we spent a little bit of time working on yesterday, and that is share with the audience a sense of the pricing.
Oh, good. Thank you for bringing me back to that. Actually, just
Yeah.
so the most important question that usually gets asked at the end of any call: what's your pricing platform? So we price it based on tiers. So this just recently updated. So here's our 4 tiers. It's a standard platform fee, a licensing fee based on your tier. For timekeeping, it is priced separately, so you can take it or leave it. We turn it on, we turn it off. Our scheduling, which is releasing soon, again, same thing. If you want to have 50 people that are on your standard health and safety license, you want to have 30 people are on timekeeping, you want to have 10 people that are on the scheduling, you can do that. So you can kind of customize what your program looks like. We're going to be adding chat, which is an annual 500, and we're going to be we allow custom branding, which is that experience I showed you where I custom branded for the net effect, which is this additional 500 a year. And as the tiers grow, the individual prices drop, as you can see, and some things start to become free. So pretty straightforward and standard. happy to share this or talk this over with anybody specific to your company and try and narrow down and what you might actually need. It's just a simple conversation to confirm that. The pricing was, the question is the pricing annual or monthly? This is annual pricing. So we are open to multi-years contracts if somebody wanted to make that commitment, and I can sharpen my pencil in those cases, but this is our standard pricing for an annual agreement.
Terrific. Well, thanks, Derek. I think that's been a great point of view, I guess, with respect to Corfix and how it can help a lot of contractors put that documentation in place, certainly help them with their core compliance. You know, that's where you started, but certainly your application is built to go well beyond just the health and safety area. And I think it's got a lot of different utilizations and applications going forward. And I hope that those of us who were, or those of you who were able to join us today have gained a level of appreciation of this. We're very, very glad to be a partner with Corfix. And if any of you have any questions or you want to reach out to Corfix, you can do so directly, or you can do so through our website. If you go to the NetEffect website, you will find a page for Corfix there that will link you to their offering. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great balance of their week. We like to take this little break in the midst of the week and share some of our knowledge and our ideas and our partnership information with you. And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye now.